Hello, everybody. This is Tom Eckert here. You're listening to my podcast, Numerology, a GPS for the soul. This is your place to learn about the true power of numerology and how to use it to bring out the best in yourself, understand your loved ones better, take wise decisions, and prepare for your future. In other words, how to live your life aligned with your true destiny. Take your time to educate yourself and share these podcasts with your friends and family so they too can enjoy the great benefits of numerology. Enjoy! Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode in my ongoing podcast. Today I'm going to talk about a subject I usually don't tend to talk about, which is pointing out my love and my trust and my adoration of a specific number. And that is, as you can already guess by the title of this podcast, the 27-9. That is a 27 that makes a 9, or a 9 made out of 27. Now, number 9 in and of itself is a fantastic, inspiring number. 9 is an all-inclusive number because it literally includes all the other numbers in it. If you simply add all the numbers from 1 to 9, one after the other, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, all the way to 8, you're going to get 36. And 36 equals a 9. So 9 is a very all-inclusive number, rich, and representing a kind of peak in an all-inclusive quality. However, 9, as you can already understand, can be derived from 18, from 36, from 45, from 54, and so on and so forth. But there's something very unique about the 27. And we're going to dive deep into this unique number in this episode. Now, I want to start by saying that I don't have any personal bias towards loving this number. As a matter of fact, when I was younger, I had this unexplained, uncanny attraction to the number 27. I simply loved it. I just felt that that's my favorite number. And I'm talking about before I knew anything about numerology or anything about my numbers. So it was really honest. It was really innocent. There was no personal motive behind it. I didn't know my numbers and therefore kind of admired my own numbers. Not at all. So simply a very innocent attraction. Now let me hopefully I will succeed in showing you the marvel, the beauty, the magic, the power of this unique composition of energies that we can call the 279 composition. So I like to call the 27 that makes up a 9 the pure-hearted leader. Because the 9, when it functions in its higher potential, is all about a universal heart, a heart that is there for the benefit of all, in service of the greater good, someone who's really there to shower generosity, goodness, compassion, someone that is made to expand towards the universality of their own nature in order to be an example for all of us. The thing is that number 9 can also go into a shadow, which is being very, I would say, martial, okay? From the word Mars, affected by the energy of Mars, which means tending to war, tending to fight, tending to anger. So if on the light side, on the bright end of things, 9 has a very open heart, a very non-dogmatic, liberal heart, on its shadow, it's going to become like a dictator, someone who tries to force their opinion on others. This is, for example, you can see that working in totalitarian regimes, for example. This is also an energy of 9 in its shadow, forcing an ideal onto a whole nation, right? If it was just on a few friends or, your own spouse, that's small scale, but 9 goes big, 9 goes universal. And when it goes shadow universal, then you see, for example, totalitarian regimes. You can also see wars, someone waging war in order to enforce their idea, right? So that's 9 working shadow. But the beauty is that 27 is not so much tending to that quality of the 9. Yes, like any 9, it will have that edge of anger from time to time. It will have that wish to, to make everyone see what it sees. But the 2 and 7 divert the 9's energy into a very unique direction. And that's why I'm focusing on no other than the 27 9. You see the 2, 7, and 9 as a combo, as a number combo from a perspective of a numerologist, are what I call the spiritual numbers. In numerology, you will find what I call number topic groups. For example, a group of number like 135 that forms a kind of energy that is more childlike, happy, creative, bouncy, upbeat. Or like the energy of 2, 4, and 8, which creates an energy of something more conventional, with ethical, values, moral values, more attentive to the rules of society, more grounded, etc. You also have the number topic group, as I just mentioned, of 2, 7, and 9, which is numbers that are really focused on the subtle dimensions of life, the spiritual dimensions of life, from different perspectives. Starting with a 2, you have someone who's deeply sensitive, deeply perceptive, even feminine, I would say. Moving to the 7, you have someone who's deeply wise, truly wanting the truth, wanting to see things as they are, having that extra depth. And then you have the 9, alone, which stands for the wider picture, the bigger picture, the bird's view perspective, the ability to see the entire puzzle, the entire picture. So we have here sensitivity, depth, and the bigger picture, which is a very complete form of perception. Many different angles for one purpose, which is wisdom, completion. That makes the 27-9 a very spiritual number, a highly spiritual number. And anyone who possesses the 27-9 in one of their core 5 numbers, especially in the life path, expression number, or soul urge numbers, is someone with a destiny, a very clear destiny. Just as an example, Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King had 27-9 in his soul urge number, right? Someone who was absolutely moved by a true, beautiful idea and liberated the whole Black community in the United States. And more than the United States. So it's not less than a revolution. That is an incredible example of someone working the 27-9. Another very famous figure was Gandhi, right? Who liberated India. Again, by living as an example. Both these incredible men lived as an example. Gandhi had a 27-9 in his life path number. Completely able and willing to sacrifice for what he stands for, right? Which is, in a sense, the archetype of the real, authentic leader. And then we have no other but Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa also had 27-9 as her life path. And for those of you who don't know, Mother Teresa sacrificed an incredible, a huge chunk of her life to help the poor, the helpless, the homeless, the sick in horrific conditions. And so you see that greatness. You see here that the 27-9 is really someone that lives what they walk their talk. In other words, that's the best way to put it. They walk their talk. They're a leader by example, a true leader by example. So coming back to what I said, if you have the 27-9 in one of your 5 core locations and numbers in your chart, especially the life path, expression number, or soul urge number, you have a destiny to fulfill. Perhaps it's you, perhaps it's your child, perhaps it's your spouse. It's good to know about this. It's good to connect to this energy, because that means you have a tremendous power right there in your own core that waits to be activated, waits to inspire your brothers and sisters out there. But hey, what about all those of us who are listening to this episode and don't have a 27-9 in our 5 core numbers? What about us? Well, we all should get inspired. Inspiration is super important for us to always have a vast horizon to look towards, a guiding star, a north star to follow. And the 27-9 is perhaps the best north star to follow. They represent our own highest ideals, because remember, we are all one. Not all of us need to be a 27-9, but we can all together recognize that the 27-9 is perhaps the best example of following the light, following what's true and beautiful and real and authentic. Let us go further. Let us step deeper into the 27 from other perspectives. The 27-9 also stands for the archetype of the wise old man or woman. The one you go to, the one people go in pilgrimage to in order to gain enlightenment, perspective about life's deepest lessons. These are those people who gain profound wisdom and sit in their little home or ashram or cave or monastery, and people come to them to get inspired, to listen to their profound, all-inclusive perspective on matters of life and wisdom, life and death, and the beyond. Another word that I love to use in conjunction with the 27-9 is the bodhisattva. The bodhisattva, a word that comes from the Buddhist tradition, especially from the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. The bodhisattva, for those of you who are not familiar with the word, is a being that has reached a high degree of spiritual awakening. But instead of leaving this realm at the time of death and moving into higher realms, which it could, decides to reincarnate again and again on this earth, despite the enormous hurdle and suffering and horrible experiences that each one of us experiences throughout a human lifetime, in order to help its human brothers and sisters attain liberation, enlightenment, and spiritual awakening. And so, in the heart of this being, there is such a shining love that it truly wants to come here, sacrifice its own comfort for the sake of everyone, all sentient beings. Now, for me, personally, when I hear this, it brings tears to my eyes. That's a true spiritual leader, someone who's truly loving, who really cares, Not someone who just goes around bragging about, peace and love and gives hugs and long gazes, but someone who really walks their talk, who really loves, who's willing to be a true spiritual servant, because after all, spiritual liberation turns out to be spiritual service. And 27.9 is a living example of that. It doesn't lead by force because it wants the best for everyone. And because it wants the best for everyone, it inevitably becomes a leader. It doesn't try to be a leader. It simply follows its heart with utmost and total innocence and passion and trust and belief. And it's magnetizing. And because of that natural magnetism, this effortless magnetism that does not try to persuade anyone, it simply becomes inevitably a leader to us all. Another incredible quality about the 27.9 is the purity. And when I talk about purity, I talk about purity of motivation, purity of heart. You see, so we can say that the 9 made of 27, because of its unique composition of numbers, 2, 7, and 9 coming together to form this unique 9, they really create a kind of polished heart, we can say. A heart that is purely about wisdom, love, and truth. A heart that can see the possibility of light through the darkest hours. And also, in a person, very often creates that power to come out of the darkest pits of suffering and hell back into the light. It's that kind of heart that can see the beauty even in the midst of the darkest places, in the darkest people, in the darkest events. It is a heart that does not lose its innocence. And because of that, it is a truly pure-hearted being, which gives it even more the right to take that leadership role. The 27.9 is all about attainment of the ultimate wisdom, the wisdom beyond dualities, the wisdom that helps us overcome all the hardships of life. So we're talking here about that energy of the sage, the wise one, the enlightened one. Another incredible quality I've discovered about the 27.9 over the years that I think is really important for all of us, essentially, to embody, is the knowing, the deep knowledge that everything is possible. So the 27.9, even if they look around them and they see people living a very unconscious life, a life filled with negativity and corruption, they still believe and know that a whole different reality is completely possible. A life of heaven on earth. They don't believe in dead ends. They know that every feeling of dead end is only a feeling. It's not a reality. And because of that, they always find a way out. That's why I said earlier that even when everything seems lost, right? When things seem so dark, as if there's no way out, they will find a way out. They will find the light and the power needed to overcome every and any situation, especially those that seem hopeless. And because of that, they know how to open hearts. They know how to touch people, especially those that feel they lost all hope. If you feel you lost all hope, I really warmly recommend that you get in touch with a 27-9 person. 27-9 person really knows how to empower people and remind them that no matter how dark it seems and how dark it feels, hope is an absolute reality. It's not a matter of how one feels. One can feel terrible and one can feel amazing, but hope is not dependent on what one feels. Hope is simply the reality. And in the reality, I mean the fact that reality has no boundaries. Reality, no matter how negative we feel, what our emotions are, reality is completely open. It does not have a boundary. And the 27-9 knows that. It knows that despite the immense sense of contraction that one can feel, one can fall into, there is a way out. And it will find a way out if you're willing to reach out and give the 27-9 your hand. And that's the magic. That's the magic. So, I think that I've almost covered everything I wanted to say about the 27-9, and I think that by now you understand why I love it so much. This purity, this authenticity. Oh, and by the way, one word that I forgot to say, and I think it's important to mention, one of the words that are most representative of 27-9 is integrity. Integrity and honesty. They're so integral. They have a heart of gold. I think that's a beautiful way to discover. I'm saying to describe, right? So it's a beautiful way to describe the 27-9, a heart of gold, something so selfless, really available for their brothers and sisters, really humble universal servants. And so integrity, in my opinion, is one of the most needed qualities nowadays, to remember what's really truly important. So remember that we all can be inspired by this number. You don't need to have it in your core numbers. Numbers are universal qualities. The 27-9 represents that universal quality that we all want to get in touch with, which is that ultimate light, that ultimate North Star to follow, that ultimate purity, that ultimate trust, the wisdom that sees it all, that knows where to look, that knows where to go. So I hope that this inspires you just to listen to this quality and to use this kind of focal words, this all these unique terms like purity, integrity, honesty, wisdom, service, to come back to that elements in your own being. And remember, if you have these numbers or your child has these numbers, it's really important to support yourself and the ones you love. So don't hesitate to get yourself a real profound, all-inclusive numerology reading to understand what that means about you, and how does that 27-9 of yours work with the unique composition of energies that you have. That's one way. Another way is you can simply check out my self-study numerology course and deepen by yourself. This way or the other, I think it's worth knowing how this number functions in your chart and empower yourself to live the destiny you were made to live. Okay, guys, I hope this sparks light, inspiration, and a taste for more. And I'll see you in the next episodes. Goodbye. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, and you want to go deeper into numerology, check out my website, tom-eckert.com. You can also book a numerology reading or even study numerology yourself through my courses. I'll see you in the next episode.